You got Shedeur Sanders, the rookie quarterback who was supposed to be Cleveland's savior, the next big thing to pull the Browns out of decades of heartbreak. And instead of building around him, instead of nurturing the generational talent they had right in their hands, what did the Browns do? They benched him. They disrespected him. They treated him like some disposable part in a machine that hasn't worked since the 1980s. And now, that disrespect has come full circle because the league took notice. Rival executives, rival owners, rival coaches. They saw the cracks in Cleveland's foundation, and they swooped in like sharks smelling blood in the water. The result? A mind-melting, record-shattering offer. $93 million. Not from Cleveland, but from someone else. Let's pause on that number for a second.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
$93 million for a player who hasn't even hit his stride in the NFL yet. That's not just money, folks. That's a coronation. That's a franchise saying, we don't just want you on our roster. We want you to be our identity, our brand, our future. And here's the kicker. This isn't just a football contract. No. This package comes with endorsements, brand control, and, get this, influence over coaching decisions. It's not a contract, it's a throne. They're not signing Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback. They're signing Shedeur Sanders, the movement. Now, Cleveland fans are sitting here in absolute shock because this is a nightmare scenario nobody wanted to talk about out loud. The Browns finally had a face of the future, and through incompetence, ego, or plain old arrogance, they've shoved him right into the arms of another franchise. If Sanders takes that deal, he won't just walk out of Cleveland. He'll torch what little credibility the franchise has left on his way out the door. Think about the fallout. Season ticket holders who thought they were buying into a new era? Gone. Merchandise sales? Dead in the water. The fan loyalty that barely survived the decision when LeBron left? Yeah, imagine that, but in cleats instead of sneakers. This isn't just losing a player. It's losing your identity, your hope, your story. And for the league, this is a watershed moment. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just Shedeur Sanders anymore. He's a symbol. He's the poster child for a new era of player empowerment. One where athletes don't just cash checks. They write the checks. They don't just run plays. They help design them. They're not waiting for respect. They're demanding it. And they've got billion-dollar offers to back it up. Look, let's call this what it is. A declaration of war. That $93 million offer is basically another franchise saying, hey, Cleveland, you had your shot. You blew it. We'll take it from here. And if Sanders actually signs it, oh, buckle up. That's not just a betrayal for Browns fans. It's the end of the myth that franchises hold all the power. And Cleveland? They're left scrambling. Do they throw a counteroffer at Sanders, one so massive it makes $93 million look small? Do they beg and grovel and hope he still cares enough to stay? Or do they sit in their arrogance, insist they know best, and watch the kid walk away to greener pastures? What's wild is how poetic this is. For decades, the Browns have been the punchline of the NFL. And just when it seemed like the jokes might finally stop, just when it seemed like Cleveland might finally crawl out of the basement, they somehow found a way to trip over their own feet and land face first in the mud. But here's the thing. This saga isn't just about Cleveland. It's about every single franchise that's watching this go down. Because if Shedeur Sanders takes this deal, it sets a precedent. It tells every future superstar, you don't have to put up with being benched, disrespected, or underutilized. There are franchises out there willing to hand you the keys to the kingdom if you just pack your bags and go. And doesn't that feel like a cultural shift? For years, teams treated players like assets. Plug and play, disposable, interchangeable. But in this new world, talent has leverage. Personality has leverage. Marketability has leverage. And Shedeur Sanders embodies all three. So let's imagine it. Picture Shedeur walking out of Cleveland, signing that $93 million contract, holding up a brand new jersey with a rival's logo on it. The camera is flashing, the fans screaming, the league office is buzzing. Cleveland fans staring at the screen in disbelief. That moment would be more than just a signing. It would be a cultural earthquake, the kind of shift that gets studied in business schools and debated on sports talk radio for decades. Cleveland's mismanagement will be remembered not just as a mistake, but as the mistake, the one that redefined how franchises operate, how contracts are structured, and how players negotiate their worth. Shedeur Sanders wouldn't just be playing quarterback. He'd be playing chess while everyone else is still stuck on checkers. And honestly, the silence from Sanders so far is the loudest part of all of this. He hasn't come out with a denial. He hasn't shut down the rumors. He hasn't pledged loyalty to Cleveland. He's just sitting back, letting the firestorm rage, and watching his value climb higher by the minute. That's not hesitation. That's strategy. That's a man who knows the weight of his decision and understands just how much power he holds. The Browns are in crisis. The fans are panicking. Rival franchises are circling like vultures. And Shedeur Sanders? He's at the center of it all, calm, collected, and in control. So, here's the question. Does Cleveland pull off a miracle to keep him? Or do they let their arrogance doom them yet again? Because make no mistake, whatever decision gets made next, it won't just define Shedeur Sanders' career. It'll define the Cleveland Browns' legacy. And now, I've got to throw it back to you. If you were Shedeur, what would you do? Would you stay in Cleveland, hoping they finally treat you with the respect you deserve? Or would you take the $93 million, grab the keys to the kingdom, and start a revolution in a new city? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the saga is just heating up. And if you want to stay plugged into every twist, every shock, and every scandal in the NFL's most chaotic drama, hit that subscribe button. This isn't just sports. It's history in the making, and you won't want to miss a second of it. Would you like me to spin the aftermath scenario next? What happens inside Cleveland the moment Sanders actually signs elsewhere? That fallout could be pure chaos. This isn't just a contract signing. It's the equivalent of a cultural earthquake. When that pen hits paper, it doesn't just spell out $93 million. It writes an obituary for the Browns' credibility. Because for decades, this team has been mocked as the franchise that can't get it right. Quarterbacks come and go. Coaches burn to their playbooks. Fans sit through cold winters clinging to hope, only to be crushed again and again. But this, losing Shedeur Sanders after benching him, after mishandling him, after refusing to recognize his value, this isn't just another mistake. This is the biggest mistake. Now, let's talk about the ripple effect. The moment Shedeur signs elsewhere, fans won't just be mad. They'll be furious. We're talking jerseys burned in parking lots, season ticket cancellations, chants echoing through downtown Cleveland that have nothing to do with football and everything to do with betrayal. Because make no mistake, this feels like betrayal. Not from Shedeur. He's doing what's best for his future. But from the organization that fumbled the most important opportunity in its modern history. And oh, the rival team that swoops him up, they won't just get a quarterback. They'll get a brand. They'll get a movement. The endorsements tied to this deal mean Sanders isn't just a player. He's a cultural ambassador, a walking economy. The kind of star who makes casual fans tune in, who sells out stadiums on name value alone, who inspires kids to wear his jersey before they even know the rules of football. That's the gravity Cleveland is about to lose. The irony is almost poetic. Think about all the years Cleveland begged for a quarterback savior. From Tim Couch to Johnny Manziel to Baker Mayfield, the carousel never stopped. And finally, they landed Shedeur Sanders, a generational talent with a famous last name, charisma, leadership, and marketability out of the gate. They had him in their hands. And then, inexplicably arrogantly, they benched him. That one decision, benching him, might go down as the single dumbest call in franchise history. Because when you bench someone like Sanders, you don't just sit him on the sideline. You tell him you don't believe in him. You tell the world you don't see what's right in front of you. And in a league where respect is currency, that insult costs more than money. It costs trust. It costs loyalty. It costs the very identity of your team. Now, imagine what happens in the locker room the morning after the deal becomes official. Players look around and realize the one guy who could have turned their future around is gone. Some start questioning the coaching staff. Others start eyeing their contracts, wondering if maybe they should bail too. Dissension spreads. The vibes shift from hope to despair, from loyalty to every man for himself. That's how locker rooms implode. And for Cleveland fans, the humiliation will sting worse than anything they've endured before. And that's saying a lot for a city that's been to the drive, the fumble, the decision, and countless years of mediocrity. But this? Losing Shedeur Sanders in his rookie season because you couldn't manage him properly? That's not just bad luck. That's organizational malpractice. Meanwhile, the rest of the league is laughing, but also learning. Owners and GMs across the NFL are watching this saga unfold and realizing the power has shifted. Players like Shedeur don't have to wait years to get control. They don't have to quietly take disrespect and hope for a payday down the road. They can leverage their marketability, their brand, and their talent right now. They can flip the script on franchises that think they still hold all the cards. In that way, Shedeur Sanders becomes more than just a quarterback. He becomes a case study. Business schools will analyze this. Sports agents will use his deal as a model. Future rookies will point to him when demanding not just money, but influence. If Shedeur got brand control, why can't I? That's how revolutions start. Not with speeches, but with contracts. And the Browns? They'll be the cautionary tale. They'll be the team forever remembered as the one who let the revolution slip away. The ones who had the golden ticket and threw it in the trash. Cleveland could have been the city that ushered in this new era of athlete empowerment. Instead, they'll just be the franchise that fumbled history again. What makes it sting even more is how the rival team plays this. You know they'll frame it not just as a signing, but as a rescue. They'll paint Shedeur as the superstar they believed in when Cleveland didn't. They'll put him on billboards, launch commercials, run welcome home campaigns. And every single time Browns fans see that, it'll twist the knife a little deeper. This is why Cleveland is in full-blown crisis mode. Because it's not just about losing a quarterback. It's about losing the narrative. It's about losing faith. It's about losing relevance in a league that's all about momentum. Now, here's the part nobody's really talking about yet. The domino effect. If Sanders leaves, what happens to the Browns front office? Kevin Stefanski's already on the hot seat. Andrew Berry's decisions are under the microscope. Does Jimmy Haslam blow it all up, fire everyone, and try to salvage face? Or does he double down, pretend nothing's wrong, and let the franchise sink even deeper? Either way, chaos reigns. And you can bet rival teams are salivating, not just because they might land Sanders, but because Cleveland's dysfunction makes them easier to exploit. Free agents will think twice about signing there. Sponsors might pull back. Broadcasters might stop hyping their games. It all feeds into the spiral. Shedeur Sanders signing that $93 million deal isn't just a big story. It's a story. The turning point. The kind of moment you'll look back on years from now and say, that's when everything changed. So, let's boil this down. Shedeur Sanders holds all the cards. Cleveland is out of excuses. And the NFL? It's on the verge of a cultural shift that will ripple far beyond the field. Now the question is simple. Does Shedeur take the throne elsewhere, or does Cleveland somehow, miraculously, pull off the save of the century? Imagine you're a Browns receiver who's been working on chemistry with Shedeur all summer. You finally feel like there's a rhythm, like the offense has an identity. And then the next morning, you're told he's gone. Not injured, not benched, gone. Sign away for nearly $100 million. What does that do to morale? What does that do to trust? Guys look at each other and think, if the organization could screw this up, what's next? Am I next? Am I wasting my career here? That's how fractures start, not on the field, but in the trust between players and management. And let's not forget the head coach. Kevin Stefanski already had one foot on the banana peel after back-to-back losing seasons. Now he's got a full-blown quarterback crisis to deal with. You think fans are going to give him patience after this? Please, he'll be the scapegoat within weeks. Because when a star walks out, someone's head has a roll. But here's where it gets even more deliciously messy, the AFC North fallout. The Bengals, Ravens, and Steelers are all sitting back with popcorn. This is blood in the water, and they know it. Rival GMs will circle Cleveland like vultures, picking apart whatever scraps remain. Free agents won't want to sign with a team that couldn't keep its golden ticket. Draft prospects will think twice about being excited if Cleveland calls their name. And division rivals? Oh, they'll make sure to twist the knife every chance they get. Baltimore fans chanting 93 million from the stands. Pittsburgh throwing "Thanks, Jimmy" signs into the dog pound. Cincinnati laughing all the way to the playoffs. This is how you lose not just games, but respect. And once a franchise loses respect, that's harder to rebuild than any stadium. Now let's zoom out to the league level, because this is bigger than Cleveland. What Shedeur Sanders just did with that $93 million deal is plant a flag. He's saying, players aren't assets anymore, we're partners. And that terrifies old school owners. Because suddenly, it's not about what can you do for the team, it's about what can the team do for you. Look at the deal itself. Endorsements, brand control, influence over coaching. That's not just revolutionary. That's disruptive. That's Shedeur becoming more CEO than QB. And you know who's paying attention? Every rising star in college right now. Caleb Williams, Arch Manning, all the kids with hype, they're watching this play out and thinking, if Shedeur can demand it, why can't I? We're witnessing the beginning of a power shift in the NFL. For decades, teams had the leverage. Players were disposable, unless they were absolute legends. But now, the brand is the leverage. Social media, endorsement deals, cultural influence, that's the new currency. And Shedeur is the prototype. So what happens to Cleveland now? Short answer, chaos. Long answer, total identity crisis. The Browns will try to spin it, of course. They'll talk about rebuilding. They'll call it a tough business decision. They'll insist their focus on the future. But everyone knows the truth. They had a diamond, and they treated it like glass. They didn't just lose a quarterback. They lost their shot at relevance for the next decade. The financial hit alone is brutal. Jerseys? Tanked. Ticket renewals? Declining. National TV slots? Good luck convincing networks to feature Cleveland without Shedeur. And that doesn't even cover the cultural damage. Once again, Cleveland becomes the butt of the NFL's jokes. And for fans who lived through heartbreak after heartbreak, this might be the final straw. And the rival team that landed Shedeur? Oh, they're about to ride this wave like a tsunami. They'll plaster his face on billboards, launch ad campaigns, maybe even tease new uniforms with his logo on it. They'll make him the centerpiece not just of the team, but of the city. Because that's what Cleveland refused to do. And every time Browns fans see that, it'll sting. But let's not forget, Shedeur knows exactly what he's doing. This isn't impulsive. This isn't emotional. This is calculated. He sat there, benched and humiliated by Cleveland, and thought, okay, watch this. And when the $93 million deal came, he didn't flinch. He understood the weight of it. He understood the message it sent. Not just the Browns, but to the entire NFL. It says, respect me or lose me. Simple as that. Here's the wild part. This isn't just sports anymore. This is culture. This is business. This is power dynamics shifting in real time. Shedeur Sanders isn't just playing football. He's rewriting the script. He's showing that players can shape their own destinies, demand their own value, and build their own empires. And Cleveland? They're just the unfortunate backdrop to history being made. And let's be brutally honest here. Cleveland fans don't deserve this heartbreak. They've been loyal through decades of misery. They've stuck with the team through thick and thin, through quarterback carousels and coaching chaos. And this is their reward? To watch the one shining hope of the franchise walk away because management couldn't get it together? It's tragic. It's infuriating. It's Cleveland in a nutshell. So, here's the question we all need to sit with. Is this the end for Browns as we know them? Can they recover from losing Shedeur Sanders? Or does this become the defining disaster of their modern era? Because make no mistake, this isn't just another bump in the road. This is a fork in the road. And one path leads to rebuilding, rethinking, and maybe someday clawing back credibility. The other path? Permanent irrelevance. And right now, it looks like they're already stumbling down the wrong one. On social media, it's worse. Memes are everywhere, Sanders in rival colors, Jimmy Haslam photoshopped as a clown, and endless threads about the curse of the Browns. Rival fan bases are having the time of their lives, and the dog pound? They're either furious or heartbroken, with some swearing off the team entirely. At the Browns headquarters, you can almost imagine the chaos. Stefanski walks into the facility with that haunted look of a coach who knows the clock is ticking on his job. Andrew Berry is buried under media requests, trying to spin the story into strategic repositioning, while reporters are circling like vultures. And Jimmy Haslam? He's probably sitting there realizing that one decision, benching Sanders, just cost his franchise not just a player, but an entire era of hope. The locker room is no better. Veterans are shaking their heads, rookies are whispering in the corners, and everyone's wondering, what now? Sanders' locker sits empty, a silent reminder that the future just walked out the door. Some guys start texting their agents. What's the market like if I want it out? That's how fast a franchise unravels. And while Cleveland implodes, the rival franchise that signed Sanders is throwing a parade. Their fans are lining up at stores for jerseys, press conferences are packed, and national media is dubbing Sanders the future of the NFL. That contrast, Cleveland in mourning, another city celebrating, is the sharpest dagger of all. The most brutal part? This isn't just about football anymore. It's about identity. Cleveland is a blue-collar city that clings to its teams as symbols of resilience. Losing Sanders this way feels like more than a sports story. It feels like betrayal, like being told, once again, that no matter how hard you hope, the story always ends the same. And that's why this saga isn't going away anytime soon. Every Sunday the Browns take the field without Sanders. Every highlight reel he stars in for someone else. Every commercial he headlines. It's all going to remind Cleveland of what they lost. Not just a quarterback, but a chance at redemption. So I'll leave you with this. If you're a Browns fan, how do you even move forward from here? Do you stick with a team that seems cursed to fail? Or do you finally walk away? Drop your answer in the comments, and don't forget, hit that subscribe button if you want to follow every twist of this absolute soap opera. Because trust me, the drama is only just beginning.